caught using their phone behind the wheel. CBS 6's Jake Burns is live in Richmond to tell us how much he wants the fines to go up and who inspired his idea. Hi, Jake.
Hey, Reba. Yeah, I'm in the back parking lot right now, but you've very likely seen someone doing what I'm doing right now, maybe out on the roadway, texting and driving. It's really, really dangerous. I think that's pretty obvious now. Now, State Delegate John O'Bannon wants to take the fine for doing this right here, texting and driving, and increase it from $125 to $250. Texting and driving has been illegal in Virginia for several years now, but O'Bannon says he doesn't think that it's really changed that much. He still sees a lot of people doing the texting and driving thing, and this fine, he thinks, the increasing this fine, he thinks will help out. Now, it is interesting, as you mentioned, how this proposed legislation came about. In fact, a group of high school students did this as a part of a class. They drafted this bill as a part of their high school class and then sent it over to O'Bannon's office. Now, last night, we spoke with Sierra Berry. She's one of the students who worked on this project, and she had no idea that it might actually become legislation until we told her last night.
Yes, I am. Like, I didn't know he was gonna get it. Oh my God, this is so good. I feel like I don't know, like I did something good. Like.
But they had some very well thought out reasons, mainly safety reasons, that if we can keep people from texting while driving, we'll be safer.
Now, this bill is far from becoming actual law. It still has to go through all the committee review processes and then pass both the chambers of the General Assembly. We have spoken with some local advocates who say they think this bill is a good step, but it might not go far enough. We'll have more on that in our next half hour. Robin, Reba?
Yeah, some people will say it doesn't matter how high those fines are, people are still going to do it. So we'll see.
Watch closely as a group of people pull a man from this flaming vehicle. The single-car crash happened right here on the Powhite Parkway near Courthouse Road.
You know, at first I don't think anybody thought there was somebody in there, and then people actually heard his screams, and that's when we were, people were hammering on the, trying to kick in the sunroof.
That wasn't working. Luckily, witnesses say a man with a hammer broke the glass, and two people pulled the driver to safety.
Lucky guy, because, minutes later, people had come there minutes later, and the flames were bigger. I don't know if he would have made it, honestly.
Police say the man was taken to the hospital, but his injuries are not life-threatening. There's always going to be a lot of noise when you live right next to the Powhite Parkway, but I spoke with one man who heard the impact of this crash and said it was so loud that it woke him up from a deep sleep. Joseph Payne may have heard the crash, but he hadn't seen the video of the rescue just yet. He praised the reaction by a few people who may have saved this man's life.
It's an adrenaline thing that people get, You see that, your first reaction is you want to try to do something to help.
There's a lot of heroes in the world, and a lot of people do awesome things. I think it's just being a good human being.
Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.
The technique is what gets you out of the grab, not strength or power.
To high-level black belt master English, self-defense is his profession and his passion.
You always want to move towards the weakness and not towards the strength.
The case of accused abductor Delvin Barnes has drawn so much attention, we asked English to show us simple techniques that could help people escape similar attacks.
As soon as I start to push her forward and she escapes out to the side, then my own energy will drive me forward. Awareness is something that you have to practice every single day.
Police say awareness and bravery under extraordinary circumstances helped Barnes's alleged victims escape. Philadelphia police say Carlisha Freeland Gaither smashed out Barnes's car window, threw her cell phone out the vehicle, and gave Barnes her ATM card. All moves that helped police find her. Local authorities say the 16-year-old victim who escaped to this Charles City County store fled into the woods when Barnes was looking the other way.
When his attention was diverted from her, and she saw an opportunity, an avenue for an escape, and she took it.
Super quick thinking on these two girls saved their life.
English adds that media attention of high-profile abduction cases has led to an important cultural shift.
People right here, close, not somewhere in Arkansas or in California, but right here, people are being attacked and harmed. Now we're getting a huge interest in actual self-defense tactics.
Tactics that English says can save lives. As for Barnes, his next court appearance is scheduled for Wednesday in Charles City County. In the newsroom, Jake Burns, CBS 6 News. Smartphones are targets for thieves in the 21st century. Consumer Reports says there were more than 3 million smartphones stolen in the U.S. last year.
I would rather, if someone stole my phone, I'd rather them have something useless than something fun.
So Andrew Clark protects his phone with a password.
Just seems like a kind of a gimme that's something you should do.
Seems simple enough, but it may surprise you to learn that Clark appears to be in the minority. A study by Consumer Reports found only 36% of smartphone owners use a 4-digit passcode to protect their phones. Only 11% use a passcode longer than 4 digits, and even fewer people take additional security steps. Since smartphones are filled with your personal information, like bank account numbers, consumer advocates would like to see more people being proactive about securing their phones.
The big risk, though, is what happens after a little while with the information that you've kept on that cell phone. Please be sure to password that thing.
There are steps you can take right now to make sure you're protected if your phone is lost or stolen. Most smartphones come with an individual ID number, and it's pretty easy to access. All you have to do is dial *#06#, and it pops right up on screen. Experts say writing that number down can make it easier to find the phone. But the simplest way to protect your information is that 4-digit passcode.
I don't know. I never imagined it being stolen or lost.
Katie Sullivan doesn't have a password on her phone right now, but she says that won't be the case for very long.
Okay, I'll go do it.
Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.
Program! Defense! 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 All right. Woo!
UVA home games are always cloaked in orange.
Would you like a ribbon for Hannah?
Take a couple. Oh, yes, ma'am. Take as many as you need.
Do you need 2 or 3?
Community of UVA is just definitely at a loss without her.
It's for Hannah Graham.
But orange represents more than school pride this game day. It's Hannah Graham's favorite color. More than 7,000 orange ribbons were handed out and pinned on to honor her.
Yeah, we would just take one, just wear it during the game.
The people have done a really good job in Charlottesville, especially not forgetting about it.
As for the man charged with Graham's abduction, Jesse Matthew Jr. is back on Virginia soil. He's awaiting a court appearance after officials extradited him from Galveston, Texas, Friday. Back at Scott Stadium, Saturday's focus was also on student safety. UVA officials urged students to consider that first and foremost.
As much as we as parents try to protect them and keep them safe from harm, sometimes we can't. So we have to instill them with that battle armor, if you will, to make sure that they know.
Thank you guys for wearing them.
As the UVA family looks to bring Hannah home,
want a ribbon?
These orange ribbons may be a small game day gesture, but they symbolize something much larger.
Hopefulness, that she might come home soon.
Did you know that the school is shaped like a key?
Good friends like Carter King and Alexis Downey usually bond over shared experiences.
Terrified.
They were in the 2nd grade when the record earthquake of 2011 destroyed Thomas Jefferson Elementary. Carter and Alexis were on the playground.
Because it came out of nowhere. The ground started shaking rapidly.
A lot has changed since then. Thursday, students duck and cover, simulating how they would respond if an earthquake comes again.
It means everything. We take it very seriously, much more seriously than we probably took it before the earthquake. I definitely think school districts need to be aware and be prepared.
Not too many schools are as prepared as Thomas Jefferson.
Missing no extra.
Dozens of aftershocks following the quake forced students like Carter and Alexis to get good at getting down than getting out of the school.
It's just more comforting because you know that everybody knows what to do. Yeah, and we all feel safe, more safe.
The original school building was built in 1953. Since these new digs are brand new, it just opened this year, school officials say the building is also ready to take on any earthquake or aftershock if it comes.
Miss Davis, preschool.
Carter and Alexis now run these halls as 5th graders. They do have an uncanny understanding for their age and why these earthquake drills need to happen.
It's not something you can look forward to.
Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.
But this is the camera that is monitoring when the stop arm comes out.
Ron Rhodes has seen it firsthand. Cars flying past his school buses, that already have their arms out.
Can't believe it. I mean, a bus, if you has all the lights and bells and whistles flashing, and people just go right on by it.
Prince George has 3 buses like this one with cameras installed that take photos of vehicles illegally passing school buses. It's an automated system that takes a series of photos, including the vehicle's license plate. The images are then sent to a company in Arizona, who then sends them back to police. It's their job to determine if the violator will receive a $250 fine.
Hopefully, the folks that are doing it will get the word out that you can't do this.
Right now, the program is still in the testing phase, but Prince George will begin ticketing drivers by the end of the month.
My honest reaction, a lot of times I walk home cursing and livid.
Mother of 2, Christina McClung, says dropping her kids off at the bus stop can be heart-stopping at times. With so many drivers ignoring the signs to stop, McClung says the fines should be a deterrent.
I think it's going to make people think and say, hey, you know what, maybe I should think about this before I do it.
Chesterfield, Petersburg, and Hopewell schools have installed the cameras on some of their buses, but are all at various stages of implementing the full system. But each of the school divisions we spoke with say the main goal is to keep kids safe getting on and off the buses. Reporting in the newsroom, Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.
No skinny jeans. Dad says no skinny jeans.
Holiday shopping is always a journey of choices.
Which one you wanting, babe?
For Jessica James, Sunday's trip to Walmart
I got a Legos.
means her son Damien will get the Christmas she says he deserves.
I've cried like 5 times.
Jessica and Damien are one of dozens of families from New Kent and Henrico whose holiday gift bill is being paid for by the police.
We identify kids who are in financial need, and they're good kids, and we just try to help them in any way we can during the holiday season.
Frozen.
The Cops and Kids program is in its 17th year here. The money comes from donations by local businesses.
Are you ready?
But look closely. In a time nationally where tensions between police and the public are high, one of these kids' happiest moments of the year comes with a police officer by their side.
We hope that this program actually breaks the wall down between the communities and the police.
It's 688.
A wall that was broken down years ago for Jessica James with help from the woman with the notepad, her police helper Sunday, Denise.
She actually works at the elementary school that I went to when I was my son's age. We don't want our kids to be angry and evil and believe that the people that are here to help us are hurting us, you know, because they have done nothing but bring so much joy to my son for his Christmas.
Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.
Base safety radio check.
These expert search crews test their gear, review maps, and load their vehicles, prepping to romp through rough terrain.
150 mostly strangers out here looking for my niece.
Trina Murphy's niece, Alexis, has been missing for more than a year now.
It's a horrible club that none of us asked to be members of.
Samantha Clark's mother sits quietly while teams prepare to search for her daughter. Clark has been missing since 2010 and was last seen at her home in Orange. Police say Randy Taylor, the man convicted of killing Murphy, is still a suspect in Clark's disappearance.
To say that there's no connection between the cases, I believe, is kind of ridiculous. Plus, it would be a disservice to both families.
More than 200 acres of a private hunt club in Orange is the target Sunday.
It is an area that Randy Taylor would have been familiar with and had access to, close to an area where he used to live.
Crews deploy ATVs, canine units, and even officers on horseback looking for any clues linked to Clark or Murphy. Many of the same crews who were searching Sunday also helped out in the Hannah Graham investigation, and authorities say it's lessons they learned from that search that are helping them here in Orange County.
Someone said, well, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. You got to find the haystack first.
Trina Murphy says she is ever grateful to these searchers and that her family is holding on to hope that both Alexis and Samantha come home.
It's very important that we stand together and support each other.
Jake Burns, CBS 6 News. The scenic beauty of Virginia's northern neck.
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, you're looking at something so beautiful here, and then on the other
is daunting to Richard Gifford. His wife Claudine Gifford disappeared from here a week ago Sunday.
Worry, heartache.
Sheriff's deputies say Gifford was last seen leaving this tiki bar with a man on July 6th. Rich and his wife were living apart for the past year or so, but he drove up from Orlando, Florida as the days rolled on with no sign of Claudine.
Being here, I just want to be close to what's going on.
Deputies say Gifford's case is still considered a missing person investigation. A crew of more than 100 search and rescue professionals spent all day Saturday in this area around Windmill Point and in Cox Farm near Kilmarnock. Still, no sign of Gifford.
They're telling me right now no news is good news.
Rich and Claudine have a 15-year-old daughter. She's in Florida using the internet to track the search for her mother very closely.
I think the reality of it all is starting to, come into play now with her.
Right now, no one really knows where Gifford is or why she disappeared. Her husband is hoping even the smallest piece of information will help.
Find my wife and bring her back home.
Sheriff's deputies say they're going to continue searching for any sign of Gifford once again on Monday. Reporting in Lancaster County, Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.
It was completely white. There was no green on it.
Alexis Carrasquillo joins hundreds of drivers at this Midlothian car wash, getting the remnants of salt and sand off their cars.
A lot of people complain Virginia exaggerate.
Carrasquillo drives more than 300 miles per week for his job, many of them in Chesterfield and Henrico. He sees a difference in how the roads are maintained, especially in Chesterfield.
Well, a lot of the secondary roads that I come across almost look like sweet cheese.
VDOT currently maintains all the secondary roads here in Chesterfield County, but this bill would give county administrators the option to do the work themselves.
I think it would be an easier mechanism, if you would, to get the right kind of reactions when you need them.
State Senator John Watkins' bill would give Chesterfield the same level of funding that Henrico County gets. Henrico is one of 2 counties in Virginia that works on their own secondary roads and gets extra money from VDOT to do it. Watkins says Chesterfield should be on the same level because it's one of the largest contributors of secondary roads in Virginia.
We would be doing the maintenance. We would be doing the snow removal.
Making such a change brings the obvious question of where will the money come from? According to this financial impact statement, VDOT would need additional revenue or have to take money away from other parts of the budget in order to pay for the higher levels of funding in Chesterfield. Back in Midlothian, Carrasquillo says he'll let the lawmakers figure out the numbers, but wants to see the change happen.
When each county has their own responsibility towards those roads, they'll do a better job at it.
Jake Burns, CBS 6 News.
The city of Richmond this morning, police are investigating after a call for a domestic disturbance turned into an officer-involved shooting.
That scene unfolded on the city's south side. CBS 6's Jake Burns is live on Fernbrook Drive where it all happened. Jake.
Yeah, Reba, whatever was happening inside these apartments last night, it was loud enough that someone was concerned and called police during that domestic dispute. When officers arrived, they made entry, we're told, and then immediately found a suspect with a gun. Now, this all unfolded just before 10:30 late last night here at the Warwick Village Apartments. We are told that as soon as those officers arrived, they encountered that armed suspect inside an apartment. At some point, that suspect, we're told, raised up his weapon towards the officers, and that's when multiple shots were fired and that suspect was struck multiple times. Now, as you can see in this video on your screen, it was quite a response from Richmond police, which is pretty typical for a scene like this. Forensics units were called out here. Also, their force investigation team collecting evidence and piecing together exactly what happened. This is very early on in the investigation, but we can tell you police say those officers think it was absolutely necessary that they entered that apartment right away.
When the officers arrived, they knew that there was trouble inside that apartment. It was easy to tell by what was going on, and so they decided to make entry right away, and that's what they encountered when they went inside. Somebody with a weapon.
Of course, it was 1 week ago north of the river where there was an officer-involved shooting that had one officer shot and left a suspect dead. However, these circumstances are completely different, and I can tell you, Rob and Reba, the suspect who was shot has non-life-threatening injuries.
Interesting here.
We're looking for comment from the police department later today. Thanks, Jake.
We've had people write, will you marry me on it, take me to prom, so it's a lot of good stuff.
Written in chalk, this community expression wall in the downtown mall displays some of the current themes in Charlottesville. One message, right now, stands out from the others.
There's been a lot of stuff about bring Hannah home. Anytime something like that happens, they really do well with putting a message on the board for that.
UVA sophomore Hannah Graham was last seen only a few blocks away from here at the Tempo restaurant. Police say this man, Jesse Matthew, was the last person to be seen with her. Now posted around town next to the missing person flyers are wanted posters of Matthew. However, he's wanted on a driving violation and only a person of interest in Graham's disappearance.
It's a hard line. I mean, if you know he's involved, then his face should be everywhere. But I feel like we should, as the public, know more about whether or not, or how much reasoning do we have to point at him.
Forensics testing on evidence removed from Matthew's apartment is expected to come back soon. We now know police removed specific clothes from the apartment during a second search on Monday, the same day that billboards like this asking for info on Graham's whereabouts went up around Virginia. As Charlottesville holds its breath, waiting for any kind of news, John and Sue Graham are waiting too, asking for information on where Hannah is.
Did you see Hannah? Did anybody see Hannah? Did you see Hannah? Did you see Hannah? Who saw Hannah? Somebody did.
Driving charges. Happening today, Henrico County schools will consider making September 23rd, mark your calendar, an entire school holiday because of the UCI Road World Championships that will impact traffic.
Yeah, but Henrico schools are not the only ones that would be impacted by the races. CBS 6's Jake Burns tells us some of the other major places affected. He's live in downtown Richmond. Jake.
Yeah, Reba, it's hard to believe we're 36 days away from the World Championships right here in Richmond. Most places are finalizing exactly how they're going to deal with all those street closures. That's what Henrico County school leaders are considering tonight. Now, they are considering altering one day, only one day on their calendar during the races. It's September the 23rd, but because of this map that you're seeing on your screen, that's the reason they're thinking about altering it. As you can see, the race course goes directly through the center of Henrico County that day. So because of the potential headaches that's going to cause when it comes to transportation and logistics, they're thinking about making that a full day off for students like Hanover County already has done. Just by coincidence, it did work out that that's already scheduled to be a half day for Henrico students on September the 23rd. We'll see what the school board does tonight. But the biggest impact of the UCI is going to be right here on downtown Richmond. Of course, every single day the race course changes, so that means between early morning into the early afternoon, there's going to be a lot of different impacts on the city. VCU has already canceled on-campus classes during the race period, and state workers can discuss their schedule with their bosses to see how they can get around the races. But more than 100,000 people are expected to come down here over that 8-day period, so Richmond is going to see a lot of activity and a lot of changes. With that in mind, you need to educate yourself right now about how it's going to impact you. We have a website at the bottom of our screen. Take a look at that. It's navigate.richmond2015.com. It's really cool, actually. You can go and check out each day what the race course is going to look like, so you can figure out how A, you can get around it, or maybe B, go watch the race that specific day. Robin, Reba.
Information, because you don't want to be stuck in it that day.
No, you do not. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Jake.